Okay, joined by Michael Verney, who this is your first opportunity to actually go to some live racing in Ireland. And the question for me, as you're down there in Limerick, is what's it actually like being at a live sporting event with a view to GAA coming, knowing that there's no one else there?
Yeah, it's interesting, Shane. It was interesting even coming here. Just like, usually you're going to a match or you're going to the races, and part of it is, the excitement, the traffic, knowing you're going to meet people and all that. And even like driving in here today, I couldn't believe it. Like, I actually pulled in the middle of the road, like actually in the middle of the road, just at Limerick Racecourse, and took a picture of the Irish Independence sign, "Welcome to Limerick Racecourse." And it's very, very weird. I'm standing here just looking up at the main grandstand here, empty. We're in a little kind of a media area in the corporate box. It's grand. The facilities are great, but it's just very, very strange. It's the first time I've ever been at the races where I've been able to hear, the horses galloping. That's the main thing that you can hear, because you're not hearing anybody shouting or anything like that. You're not meeting anyone anywhere you go. It's a very, very surreal type of an atmosphere. I'd imagine if you were at a match and it was like this and there was nobody at it, you'd be able to hear you shouting at me, or me shouting at you, or me squaring up to you. It's very I don't know, sterile is probably the word. It's more like, it's more probably racing or sport for the sake of sport, more than it actually resembling anything like what it actually is supposed to be.
So, has it changed how you kind of would look at playing GAA behind closed doors for a while, if that's the case at club games, for example?
Yeah, no, it probably would, to be fair. Yeah, it probably would, because like part of it is, going out the tunnel or going out into the pitch and listen to the roar or whatever, which you're probably not going to hear realistically if you're going to a match. It's going to have that feel of a practice game. It just won't. Some people will struggle with getting used to the fact that it's important, even though it doesn't seem like it's important. It doesn't seem like it has that same stature. It clearly does. But the lad that needs the G up, it's the lad, the full back that comes storming out with the ball, or the big full forward that gets the roar. Like, just say, for example, Jerry Kelly from Borsaley, who's a real crowd favourite and gets, people talking and shouting and roaring. He gets the ball, there's a buzz of excitement. That's going to be, it'll be weird. It'll just be weird for certain lads, I'd say. Most lads maybe will be able to get on with it, but I definitely would look at it a bit differently. Like, imagine playing, we'll just say an All Ireland final. Imagine playing an All Ireland final in front of 20 people and there being no noise. It's an All Ireland final, but it definitely wouldn't seem like it.
Were there many protocols as you were going in through? Like, was there any such thing as checking temperatures or hand sanitizers, that type of thing?
Yeah, there's a nice bit of stuff. All right, yeah, even like 48 hours ago, I had to fill out a questionnaire just to make sure that everything was all right with me, that I hadn't, been in isolation or I hadn't any problems, anything like that. Then on the way in here, it's very good actually. You get a temperature check and yeah, facial recognition kind of a thing, just to make sure that they can trace back everybody that was in the race course. Obviously, all their hand sanitizers, all the interviews after the racing are kind of at a little kind of a booth where you're well away. You're not walking in talking to a jockey or anything like that. So even like after a match, if me or you were looking for an interview after a match, I'd think it would be very, very weird. And I suppose it'd probably be a handy way for a manager or a player to get out with doing an interview, just saying maybe that they weren't able to do it properly or whatever. But it's strange here, yeah. And just looking up here, the jockeys are kind of in a room close to where we are. But the usual crack, and the more than us going into a dressing room, the usual crack, boys peeled in on top of each other and skitting and laughing, all that kind of crack. When you're a bit further apart, it's a bit different. Looking forward to getting chatting to a couple of them later on, just to see what they think. No, they've all kind of said it's anything is better than not racing at all, and they'll do whatever they have to make sure the racing goes ahead. But it is a lot different.
Yeah, and is there anything where you think clearly this is the way the race course wanted the day to go, but because of the realities of racing or whatever, protocols might be kind of infringed upon here and there?
Listen, there probably are times here and there, but people are very vigilant. Like, there's so few people here. There's eyes on everybody, and particularly because all these meetings are been aired live on TV as well. So they're very wary of having people straying around in the parade ring or anything like that. But yeah, no, it's all systems go here.
So it's kind of got that feeling you show up expecting an occasion, and then it's just not that. It's taking the magic out of it a little bit.
Yeah, no, I would feel that. Yeah, it's kind of hard to know what to compare it to. Like it's just part of going to a match, or part of going to the racing, or part of going to any sporting event is, the meeting people, the mingling, the telling yarns, the talking, all the stories and different kind of thing. And it's not like that. There's three journalists here today, three photographers. It's a strange kind of a setup. I would say it probably does take a bit of the magic away. The magic of the atmosphere. There is none. In fairness to them, they're belting out tunes here, all sorts of different 80s, 90s tunes, and even a couple of recent tunes as well, just to try and get people in the mood. But I don't know if it's getting people in the mood. There's not that many people here, so. But it's just strange. Like the racing is getting ready to kick off behind me here. There's horses loading just over the far side of the track, and apart from a couple of people coming out to look over and see what's going on, you wouldn't really know.
Just a final word then. We've seen different county championships are scheduled, like Wexford for August 23. Then you see the likes of Laois who are going into the start of September, and we've seen that in other counties too. So, for example, in Leinster, if Wexford and Laois were to meet straight away in the championship, there's an obvious issue there with the amount of preparation time that Davy Fitz has versus Eddie Brennan. And the fact that clubs in general seem like they're getting the dirty end of the stick once more. Any thoughts? Would you like to see players come out across the board, even county lads? Can they even come out and say, look, this isn't right, clubs need to be looked after?
100%. I'd love to see that. And I think anybody that did come out, they definitely wouldn't have anybody saying anything negative towards them. Because a lot of the time, the more me and you, Shane, it's exactly what everybody is thinking. But people are kind of even afraid to put their head above the parapet just to say it. I'd love to hear a couple of prominent inter-county players coming out and saying that, and I'd love to hear a couple of prominent GA people making a stand on that county managers aren't going to run the GA season, aren't going to run the club season, because you've heard the murmurings, I've heard the murmurings, and that's kind of what it looks like is going on behind the scenes. And it looks like some counties, as a result of setups within counties, some inter-county teams are going to be a lot better prepared than others. So yeah, I'd love to hear somebody high profile say what everybody else is thinking. Like at the end, I was talking to Sean Boylan there just on the way down here on the phone actually, and he was just saying, like, the club is where it all starts and where it all finishes. This is a really, really unprecedented scenario that we're in, and let people back to their clubs, let them work with their clubs. Don't have them serving two masters. He actually said they should not be serving two masters. They have one master. The club championship is the sole priority once they go back, and that's the only master that they should be serving, and they should only be worrying about county when county comes along. And I'd love to see that, and I'd love to see a couple of high-profile people rowing behind that. Whether we will or not, I don't know.
I'm sure we'll talk about it more again after the racing is done. Right, enjoy the racing, and cheers for joining me.
Cheers, Shane. Good man. Mind